As Washington prepares to launch land attacks inside Venezuela, according to the Miami Herald this morning, the White House warned strongman Nicolas Maduro to leave the country now to allow the restoration of democratic rule. Maduro and his family would be given safe passage if he agreed. Joining us live this morning, political analyst Joe Siracusa. Good morning to you, Joe. So will he leave, though?
Good morning, Pete. No, I don't think so. I mean, there's a $50 million bounty on his head, raised from 15 million earlier this year. He's been indicted in the Southern Federal Court of the District Court of New York for narco trafficking and all the rest of it. They can still nail him. What he wants is he wants global amnesty. You know, if he's going to go, he wants to go with his money, and he wants to make sure he doesn't get arrested anywhere. And Trump's not going to do that. This is the same phone call, by the way, that Saddam Hussein got. He was told he'd go to South Africa or someplace and get out of town. And anyway, the American battle group is waiting to go in. America has gone into Latin America, well, a lot of times in the 19th and 20th century. This would be the first time in the 21st century. And, you know, this is what we call military diplomacy. They're going to do through military means what they haven't been able to do. In other words, they're not going to play nice anymore.
Well, I mean, he has been linked to the cartels. I mean, would he be safe anywhere, wherever he went, Joe?
Well, if he found a nice crooked country to go to, he'd feel very comfortable there. I mean, there are 100 nations that do recognize his government. 59 of them do not. And I mean, there must be some other narco state that would be willing to have him along. I mean, he can go to some place with all of his money in his helicopter or whatever these people do when they get out of town. But no, he's going to be looking over his shoulder, and he's got a lot of enemies. Of course, he doesn't have a lot of troops. So what he's asked his troops to do is to go to the hills and fight the Americans guerrilla style. And of course, America doesn't want to put troops on the ground, but Donald Trump has a Marine Expeditionary Force ready to go in and do what they have to do. So I think they will.
On that, it feels like that's getting close. I mean, because we've seen this drip feed of vision in recent weeks of narco boats being taken out, and it feels like it's all coming to a head. Is that your take?
Oh, yeah. I mean, you can't keep a battle group like that just hanging around without doing something, you know, because they're all anticipating, they're ready to go in. And you're quite right. They've been doing this very slowly and methodically. They want to get everything in place and try to minimize the damage after things begin. But Trump will move here. He's almost obliged to move because he's promised he would. And look, you know, when you got a $50 million bounty on your head, you got to have to think very clearly about where you go next. Maduro has a chance to avoid all the bloodshed. The trouble is that half the country supports him. I mean, they are deeply divided, and so if he goes, they're going to lose their meal ticket. So you know, he can count on his loyalists. On the other hand, you know, he'll just be another Latin American dictator who's come and gone.
So Donald Trump, he's got an immigration issue of his own at the moment, and in response to the attack of two of his National Guards in Washington, D.C., last week, there is a halt at the moment on Afghans coming in. How do you expect this to play out?
Well, this is going to be very difficult. He's asked his people to look over the Afghans who've come in since Kabul. Now, Pete, 190,000 Afghans have been allowed into the United States after the fall of Kabul, and they've all been vetted. And of course, we know through Senator Grassley of Iowa that Homeland Security had a problem with about 6,800 of them. They regarded, after they got here, they figured out that maybe the 5,000 were a national security risk, whatever that means, and that over the balance were, of course, a threat to public safety. And the thing is, if you're going to start to look over everything, that all the cases that came in, you're going to have a lot of Afghan speakers, that is Dari or Pasho, and we don't have a lot of language translation in the United States. So, you know, and keep in mind that this guy who killed this young woman, you know, he belonged to one of these zero units of the CIA. Those are the old death squads that we used to have in Nicaragua. These guys are killers. I mean, you know, it'd be very hard to see what side he's on, and once he get here, as the president said yesterday, he probably went cuckoo. So anyway, it's a major job to look over all these people. And of course, the simple solution is stop the gates. You stop taking anybody in, and that makes it real easy. But the president, at the end of the day, he has to decide who gets to stay and who gets to go. And as you can see, Pete, his plate is filling up. He's got to deal with domestic problems. He's got to deal with Venezuela. He's got to deal with Ukraine.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
got to deal with the fallout for the Taylor woman. The thing is that he's a lot of things are competing for his time.
There sure are, but that's the job of a president. He's although he's busy, but he does get the odd round of golf in and played some pretty nice strokes on the weekend, chipping in from the rough. But anyway, I digress. Good to see you, Joe. We'll see you next week.